Hey everyone, welcome in. This is Julie Maxon, the main stamper. I am live for my Monday at 8 o'clock. My clock is fixed, and of course I'm a few minutes late today. I've been having some computer issues, but the clock is correct in the craft room right now. So I always go live on Monday evenings at 8 o'clock for about an hour and do a really creative card class with you. Normally I feature a bundle, maybe a stamp set and a punch, or a stamp set and some dies, and I show you 3 great cards and give you lots of ideas. On Wednesday over on Positive Paper Crafters, I do a color swap. So on that Facebook group page, you get to vote which card wore it better, because I love playing with color. And that's something we're going to be able to do tonight too, is we're going to play with color. So tonight's class is all about sentiments. We're going to get so sentimental, and I've been a little sentimental myself today, so I'm going to really try hard not to cry. But anyway, there are some really sweet sentiments in the Wonderful Thoughts bundle. So it is a stamp set, it is all sentiments, but the dies have a bonus feature. I'm going to talk to you about all of the good things with this amazing bundle, and on top of that, the little cherry on top tonight of our class is we're going to talk about masking. So this is really also a class about masking. So masking techniques, using masks, all of the good things. So let me know if you can see and hear me as you're jumping on Facebook for this live. I will be popping this over onto YouTube later tonight. Thanks everybody on YouTube for checking it out. I really appreciate all of my fans over there as well. And rather than giving you a sneak peek of the cards tonight, I'm just going to get to my workspace and we're going to get working on our project. So let me pop you over there, and here we go. So let's talk a little bit about the Wonderful Thoughts first and foremost. Hi Jackie, I'm glad that you're on tonight. Thanks for watching. So Wonderful Thoughts. I want to do a quick comparison between Wonderful Thoughts and Charming Sentiments, because they're very, very similar. So Charming Sentiments came out a year ago, and there are similar dies. Now you see all these dies that would die cut your sentiments, right? So Charming Sentiments is not a bundle anymore. So it's available. The stamp set is photopolymer, and the dies coordinate, but you have to buy them separately. So you're not saving your 10%. The Charming Sentiments, if you take a look at them, they're a little bit bolder. They're a little bit more maybe hip or young. We've got super fantastic mega news, right? We've got the woohoo. We've got some baby sentiments, birthday, what's new. I love Faith Over Fear. That's probably the reason I bought this stamp set, to be honest. Faith Over Fear. Sometimes I buy a stamp set for one sentiment. This would be it, right? So these are, this is this set. And I just wanted to talk to you about this set for just a minute, because it is so different. You might think, oh, another sentiment set. Well, I already have 50 sentiment sets, but let's talk about Wonderful Thoughts. Let's talk about Wonderful Thoughts. How wonderful are Wonderful Thoughts, right? Hi, Sandra. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm so glad you're here, my friend. So Wonderful Thoughts. These thoughts, some of these actually kind of make me cry a little bit, so I'm going to be very careful. But we've got you're wonderful, you're loved, you matter. This is one long stamp. You've come so far and accomplished so much. Like, these are super heartfelt, like really, these are the cards that you open up and you read and you cry, right? These are cards that make people, not in a mean way. We're not making people cry in a mean way, right? We're making them cry in like a, we love you, we're here to support you kind of a way. So I'm not going to read all the sentiments right now. We're going to go through some of these, but it might be really tricky to figure out how these dies coordinate with these stamps, because they look like blobs, right? Actually, some of these reminded me of when you look at the map of the United States and you see like different state shapes. Some of them looked a little, I'm terrible with the map of the United States. I mean, I know I went to school, but seriously. But some of these look like states to me. Now, there are bonus dies in here. I talked a little bit about bonus dies earlier. We have this really awesome floral die, which we're going to be using quite a bit tonight. And then there are hearts. There's 2 hearts, super cute. We're using those tonight too. I didn't even share my cards yet. It's going to be a top secret. And then we have these 2, well, one is longer and then this one's a little bit shorter. So these are extra dies. They don't actually go with a sentiment. These ones could go with any sentiment, right? So you could just pop these over here and be like, oh, it goes with these little shorties right here, right? And you may notice that there's a black line around where my dies go back on. And I did that on purpose. So this is how I keep track of what goes with what. So I have a fantastic system for these kinds of dies. I actually take a really thin Sharpie pen And before I take the dies off of this sheet that they come on, so there's the tape still on here, I outline the space. So each of these spaces is outlined, and you're also going to see numbers next to them. And that's on purpose, because then I decide which of these go with which of these stamp sets. Now I use the front to see which is which. For example, after I get it all done, I go ahead and open up my case. I make a cheat sheet. So these are all the sentiments that are in here. There's 14 sentiments. It goes with a wonderful dot size. So let's say I'm using, this is only the beginning of a life filled with love. So I have number 7 for that. So if I look at my sheet and I go, oh, here's number 7, I'm going to be able to fit this on. This is only the beginning of a life filled with love. And these dies cut out very trimly, right? This is fussy cutting at its finest. So each one of these will coordinate. And because I know which stamp goes with which die, and then I'm just going to pop this back on so I know exactly where it goes back in, right? It's like a puzzle. It's so awesome. So as long as my tape holds up for a bit, I have this all mapped out. And it didn't take too long to do this project. I will be talking about this on my blog in a couple of days, how to do this, in case you're like, wait, how did we do that? We will continue to talk about that this week. So in the annual catalog, as we talked earlier, we had the Wonderful Thoughts bundle is on page 41. And you can compare it to Charming Sentiments, which is on page 18, if you really want to check out and see what exactly all of those sentiments are. Hi, Linda and Jess. I see more people piling in. That is so awesome. So we're talking about wonderful thoughts. Like, wonderful thoughts are wonderful to think about, right? Like wonderful thoughts. So we've got this great bundle, but we're also going to talk about masking tonight. So let me grab out some of our items here for masking. Of course, we have painter's tape, right? I use painter's tape quite a bit for masking. Stampin' Up! Has masking paper, and this actually was way handier than my tape. My tape actually pulled my paper and ruined it today, so I went right to the masking paper. It's item 155480, and this is, you get 12 of these sheets, so they're awesome. I save them and I reuse them. So this is really great masking paper. We're going to be using this tonight. We're also going to be using masks tonight, actual masks. This is the Artistic Mix Decorative Masks. So we're just using this in a simple way today. We're just going to be using ink in our blending brushes. We're going to do some fun things on some cards to have some techniques. Now let's talk about the card kits real quick. Again, you haven't seen the cards yet, so you're looking at these card kits and you're like, okay, here we go. We got purples, and there is some embossing in each of these. This is the new Pebbled Path with some of the new Moody Mauve. So this is a really nice combination. And then, of course, I love the Azure Afternoon. We've got Granny Apple sneaking out of here. Another embossed piece in this kit as well. So these are your card kits. You get 2 of each with a $35 order this week in my online store. I have my host code. I didn't write it down, but it is HMUHPWHN. That's a lot of H's and such. So what I'll do is I will type it up later and you'll find it if you want it. This is going to be your free gift this week for an order over 50. So over 35, you get your card kits. Over 50, rhinestones. Now I know that they're super basic, but they go with these are like the little black dress of gems. I'm telling you what, these go with everything. When I don't know quite what to use, I'm reaching for the rhinestones. We're going to be using these on our cards tonight. And let's take a quick peek before we dive into our cards. So this will be our Pebble Path and Moody Mauve card. Check out the fun masking on this one. So there's this card. Card number 2 might be kind of popular. It's really gorgeous. I love this color combination. And then our last card, I want really purple on this one. Like, this is a very purpley card, and perfect for a sympathy card, or just if you need a really serious card. This is your card right here. Now, if you get these kits in the mail, you can mask and sponge in however you want with these colors. You don't have to use everything that I'm using, and of course you can change up your sentiments. So this purple card could very easily be a birthday card. It is just going to be so simple. So let's pull these kits apart, pull out our parts and pieces, and work on them. So again, we've got 2 of the Pebbled Path. We have a nice little layer of Moody Mauve. All of our sponging and all of our masking is going to be done on the same size white. So this little white piece of paper, the mighty white paper, this is going to be the same in every kit tonight. This is what we're masking, sponging, and decorating. So you can see it right here and it just looks bigger than life when you see it like all decorated up. You're going to get 2 of these nested essential pieces. You're going to get this to die cut your flower. Now I don't send out the cuts that go with the die set that I'm featuring. So in this case, there's a little flower right here, and you will get this to die cut a flower or change it up with whatever you have at home. And then this would be your sentiment piece. And again, you would use the charming, sorry, these are not charming, these are wonderful. You will use the wonderful thoughts bundle if you are creating exactly what I've been creating. So I'm going to start with, we're going to start with our masking, our whole masking technique. This is the whole part of the class, right? So this is just really awesome fun. And we're going to do a couple of these decorative masks. So I just have to find the 2 that I used. I used 2. So you can use more than one mask. There's no rule that says you cannot. And I am going to highly recommend, if you don't have any of this yet, this is Tombow removable adhesive. Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell this. You can get this probably at Michael's or on online Amazon, any of your craft stores. I use a removable adhesive for projects like this, and I'll show you why. I absolutely love it. So that's a must in my book. And then these are my mask pieces. So remember how earlier I was showing you my masking paper? I cut it up, I stamp on it, I do masking, and I save it. You can reuse this. It's better than Post-it notes because it holds the sticky for a long time. So these are some of my masks from tonight. We're going to start with this one right here. They do get curly though. Mind you, they get curly. All right, so the reason that I'm using the this tape is I like to open it first, of course, and then put a little bit on my cardstock and then kind of line it up on my grid paper wherever I want to. But now it's not going to move around as much. And it's removable, so it does come off really easily. So we are going to mask up our card, and this is where your grid paper also comes in really handy because you want to mask up a section. How much did I do on this one? You know, I do these things and I forget. So maybe like at 1.5 inches. So right about to this line. So grid lines, super fun, right? So we can line this up to the grid line and then kind of bring it down to the bottom and line it up again. I just need to see over my hands so I can mask where I want to mask. Okay, there we go. So we've got some masking going on. So I don't want to put anything on the left side of the paper. I only want to put things right here on the right edge for right now. So I'm going to bring in my decorative mask and I'm just going to lay this on here. And this is where you can move it up, down, left, and right. Put it wherever you want. And this is where I like to use the painter tape because I'm going to hold my mask down, making sure not to go over top of my white paper because that would interfere with my ink, right? And I'm going to just put it down here, I think. So I have everything pretty taped down and secured. Now we're going to bring in a sponge, a blending brush, and you can use sponges if you want to. Daubers might be a little tricky, so I'm going to highly recommend the blending brushes. And we're going to bring in Moody Mauve to start with. And this is where all the fun and the magic happens. So here we go. So I'm just going to push my brush around here like I'm polishing a little bit, right? And then I'm going to come on here. Now this can be really heavy. You don't have to worry about starting off for this part because we're just going to hit the mask here where it's on the white paper. And we do want it to be dark. We want this to show up really well. So we're going to just continue to add a little bit more as needed. And we're going to get these, all these little spots are going to fill in beautifully with this nice dark ink because we're using dark ink, right? I'm going to set this aside for a second. I don't need this open. We'll close that up. And now we can start looking at some of our process. So as we peel things away, I kind of set my tape aside because I can reuse this. Now this just wipes off with a baby wipe. This is typically how I use them. You can also, you can go run it under some water if you want to, but I have, so you can see the baby wipe ink. The baby wipe is removing the ink. That's what I'm trying to say. So, and they dry super quickly too. So there's all the pink ink that came off of this mask. I'm gonna set that aside. Set aside my baby wipe. I might need that back. Okay, so here's what we have so far. So let's take off our masking paper, and you still want to be careful. It's you know, don't rip it off like it's a band-aid, right? We're gonna be slow and gentle. We don't want to rip our paper. But you can see that I've started to get this really fun dark pattern here on the outside edge. I'm going to bring in my next mask and we're going to continue. So this one is my favorite. I love the plaid, right? I just like absolutely adore the plaid. But we're going to put the plaid down at an angle. We're going to angle this one. So I'm just going to put this on here. So it's going to come off at an angle, and then we're just going to tape this one down. Now I'm not masking with my paper because I want this color to go pretty much everywhere the mask is. So this time we're going to bring in Smoky Slate. Really nice friends with Moody Mauve. I think, oh, fun fact, I didn't think of this until like right this second. Keynote, I was married in 1986. These were my wedding colors. How popular, like, right? The Moody Mauve, the Smoky, the guys had Smoky Slate tuxedos. I didn't put that together until right this second, so these words just popped out of my mouth. Yeah, that was popular stuff in the 80s, I'm telling you what, right? So we're gonna just come over top of this now. So we have our mask, and we're just gonna come down with our Smoky Slate. Super fabulous color, by the way. Looks really nice with Moody Mauve. I have wedding pictures to prove it. So there we have it. And we're going to come all the way across wherever this mask is, but we're going to stop on this line right here. So we're not going to come across too far, right? We're going to just kind of hit right through here. And we're getting our Smoky Slate in there. So fun. Okay, Smoky Slate, you can close. We're going to pull this off and take another look. This is the fun about masking, is it's just non-stop. You can just keep playing and playing. So here's, just pick two color combinations that you think look nice together. So here's kind of where we're at so far. I love the angle there. I'm a fan of the angle. I'm going to just give this a quick swipe, because I'll probably forget. It's hard to see the ink on these, so you think they're clean and maybe they're not. So just, you know, kind of clean. That would be a clean as you go kind of an ordeal. Now I'm just going to bring in, this was my original masking paper. I'm bringing this back in, and I'm going to line it up. I'm going to turn it this way. Line it up at the edge of where the gray was right here, if I can find the end line there. I think that's about correct. Okay, so I'm coming at an angle. Now it's kind of hard to see because I've got mask paper and all kinds of things here, but I'm going to bring back my Moody Mauve blender brush. I didn't put it back into ink, so there's just a little bit of ink on it, and I'm just going to add some of pink here where the gray is not. Okay, so I'm just kind of, I don't want it to be super dark. I'm not trying to hide all of those little floret type thingies, but I don't know what they would be called. They're like little detailed decorations. We'll go with that, right? So I just wanted to do that, and then I'm going to pull this back up again. So you can see that by masking it, I was able to keep this pink here where the white was. So now I've got like 3 different patterns really on this piece of paper, and how cool and fun is that, right? So that is the masking for this card. That's all of our blending of colors, and I'm sure you're at home thinking, wow, I could make this card in so many colors. So I do have a Pebbled Path base, and we have just a nice little piece of the Moody Mauve here, so we're going to just do some layering. And my removable tape is still on here. I could peel this off if I wanted to. It wipes off with your finger, really. It's you saw that it didn't even stick to my surface here. So we're going to pop this on here. So we have our nice little mat, and this is just going to go on our card front now. Let's give some layers here for interest. And we'll pop this on here, just like so. And I made sure that I made the layers small enough that you can really see the card base. You can kind of see everything that's going on there. We are going to take this, and we're just going to put this on here right flat. It's just that easy. You could definitely add dimensionals here if you wanted to. So we'll pop this onto our pretty masked paper. Now we're not covering all of it up, so we can still see the background. We've really created our own designer paper is what we've done here, which is fabulous. Now die cutting. So you would be die cutting this paper with this white die to get your flower, and then we got to stamp a sentiment. So let's do that too. We are stamping our sentiment in Pebbled Path. So we're taking the darkest ink from this card and using the darkest ink for our sentiment. You are much appreciated. Love that one, right? That's a nice sentiment. And then this is a great set because it has that mix of font, right? So we have the capital letters that are printed. We have the scripty letters that are lowercase, and just super fabulous. So we would look at, this is where the fun part comes in, right? We would look at our cheat sheet, which I will be sharing pictures of on my blog in case you plan to get this stamp set, have the stamp set, and want to do the same thing, right? So I just used, oh, you are much appreciated. You are much appreciated says it's number 4 according to my cheat sheet. So I come over here to my dies. I look for number 4. This is number 4 right here. So I pop this off of here. You are much appreciated. So this just fits on here perfectly, snugly, awesomely, right? And then when I'm done die cutting it, I pop it back here where the picture is, and it indicates it needs to go back there. So I'm going to just pull out these are my pre-mades. I have a new mug. Is this not awesome? I love this so much. So that is my new mug, and it's holding my pre-mades for tonight's class. You are much appreciated. So I'm going to pull those out, pop those back in there. Now I found that the small dimensionals are magically wonderful for these smaller sections that we're going to be using here. And I did pop this up. So the flower and the sentiment are both popped up. So I'm just going to grab a bunch of these little adhesive gems, like they're gems because they're amazing. And I'm going to put some on here. And then I'm actually these are super tiny, but I am still going to cut one in half and then use 2 halves down here at the bottom because this gets really, really tiny down here. So we want to make sure we have enough coverage here on this. I might put one more right over here that it will stay on our card and be popped up. This one right here is kind of showing a little bit, and I know it's white with white, but we want it to be super pretty and fancy. Okay, that'll work. So I'm just going to pop these off of here real quick and ask everyone what you're thinking of this wonderful thoughts bundle. Like, I love the bonus stamps in it too. They call these bonus stamps because they don't coordinate with an exact image from the sentiment stamp set. Now this is definitely a stamp or a set of dies you would not buy just to have the dies, right? You wouldn't buy these outlines of sentiments. This takes a bit. This is a little tedious. These little ones, they're perfect for these little things, but my goodness, they are a little tedious and they're getting stuck everywhere. Okay, I have them all off. Now I kept this white so it would be kind of showy here against this dark color here on the background. And we're going to find my sentiment, which is so tiny now. Of course, who in their right mind would want to fussy cut that? I mean, I know some of you guys are fussy cutters, but that is, if you could fussy cut that good, I would be like, wow, you are awesome, because that's really detailed. So here we go. Here is our you are much appreciated. I'm going to put that right over here. And it's just fun because they're both popped up. They both look like they're, super specific dies, which they are. And then we're going to bring in some of these fancy little silvers. So like I mentioned earlier, these are just, they're so basic and so awesome. I mean, they go with everything. So let's just pop some on. And they are 3 sizes. You get fewer of the large and the medium, but you get a ton. Like from here up, they're all tiny. So sometimes we have to take advantage of that. But here we go. You are much appreciated. I was able to recreate that, and it was just fantastic, right? So that is card number 1. I hope you enjoyed card number 1. Let me clean down here for just a second, and we will pop onto our next card with another masking technique. These techniques are so awesome tonight, I have to say. Really enjoying the techniques. Okay, good. Just checking comments. Jackie likes my tips on how to organize that die set. Yes, not my idea. I think I saw another demonstrator do it with the Charming Sentiments stamp set and dies. And when I got this one, I was like, yeah, we're doing the same thing all over again, because it's the same process, right? It's the same kind of dies, same kind of stamp set. So here we go. Card number 2. This one, oh my gosh, I just love this color. This is like magical, and all this is ink. All this is ink. It's just amazing to me sometimes what you can do with paper and ink. Okay, so we have the Azure Afternoon card bases. We have 2 of the quatrefoil embossed pieces, and I thought that these little pieces mimicked really well the sponging, like this little shape right here. is like perfect, right? This little perfect shape. So I picked out the embossing folder that would work beautifully. We have some Granny Apple Green. This is the Nested Essential. No, this might be the Stylish Shape size. As mentioned before, every piece that we're going to be making fancy is the same size. We have a piece for sentiment. We have a piece for hearts. We're doing hearts this time. How adorable, right? Okay, let me put these ones aside. This is part of the kit. I'm only making one card. When you get these in the mail, you get to make two. You get to practice and, you know, maybe keep one, send one. Because I know sometimes it's really hard to send out cards that you love. You want to keep them on your desk and look at them. I totally understand that. I am much the same way. All right, I don't want to cover this up. Now this one, we're going to take advantage of another process. We're going to be using, again, masking paper, which is awesome. So here's my strips of leftover masking paper. I just cut 1/2-inch strips, and this is one where we're going to basically, let's do our removable adhesive first. I just feel better if it's taped down a little bit. We'll come over to this side this time. All right, and I love this grid paper. You guys all can buy this. This is not a demonstrator product. This is in the catalog. You can buy grid paper. It lasts a long time for sure. I use it over and over. And I love to line up the lines. So I'm just gonna line up maybe like one top to bottom right here. I'm like one of these little blocks on the top all the way up. There we go. So there we go. We are creating this white border. So this white border right here, this is not two pieces. This is not a decorated piece on white cardstock. This is all a continuous sponging. So we're gonna bring this piece into the side. And again, I'm gonna try to line up. So I'm like covering up one square and hopefully it's straight. Hopefully it's straight. I mean, you know, you never know, right? If it's not straight, you know, that is art. Art is not always straight. Okay, we got two. We got two going on here, so we're getting there. This is probably the most tedious part, but I mean, this is just so beautiful when it's all said and done. It is just gorgeous. And this could be any colors. This may be any colors on Wednesday. I'm not really sure yet. I haven't decided. Okay. Hopefully I'm on here straight. You can kind of see a little bit of an edge or a ridge where your paper is and where the mask is. So you can kind of like, okay, yeah, these are pretty straight lines. I've got them all beautifully decorated and ready to go. We're prepped and ready to go. So now we're going to bring in this mask and we're going to bring this down and we're just kind of, again, we're going to eyeball maybe where things land as we're masking. So maybe you want, you know, to make these little shapes be in a specific area. Right, left, center, up, down, all of those things. Then we're going to, again, bring in our painter tape and we're going to just tape this down. And I probably want to do all four corners for this one. So we're going to be doing some heavy duty blending of inks. So I'm going to just tape them down and always be careful that you don't put your painter's tape over top of where you want to put your ink colors. Let me bring this in a little bit. I think I'm like sideways a little bit. There we go. So you can see colors. Now we're going to start with yellow. We've got Daffodil Delight. I pulled colors from the Brights collection. This is my Brights collection of sponges. I just got a chalk marker in so I can label. I'll have to take a picture and show you. But anyway, I have them all individually marked so that I know which one I'm using. I don't wash them anymore. But anyway, so we're going to start at the top with the Daffodil Delight. Now we're going to just kind of come down. And keeping in mind that we have to get a lot of color on here, right? So we're not going to go down too far. I think an inch or so is probably perfect because we're going to blend colors up and down from here. So that was the Daffodil Delight. These are all from the Brights collection. This is Lemon Lime Twist. Now we're going to go into some pretty green colors. And we bring in Lemon Lime. And we're going to bring in this one. And I see that I got some orange here, or yellow, but that's okay because I am going to be putting in the sentiment piece that'll cover that up. So when you put the next color in, make sure you blend it into the previous color. Don't make harsh lines where you can't tell where one goes into the next. So there's our Lemon Lime. Next, this is the magic right here, Coastal Cabana. I think adding this in between the green and the blue is just super genius. So we're going to put this in right here. And again, I'm going to kind of bring some of this Coastal Cabana up into the Lemon Lime. So it looks like it kind of just seamlessly goes from one color to the next without any harsh lines. And then we have plenty of room here at the bottom for our Azure Afternoon, last color. Now this is something that you could probably do ahead and have a whole bunch of these ready to go. And then as you need them for a card, you could just use them, right? You've already got them made. They're like pre-made designer paper, and it's pretty because you could use your own inks. You could use whatever colors you want. And it's just that simple. Now while I have this open, I'm going to do my sentiment. And it is thinking of you. Now there were some really great sentiments in, here it is, thinking of you, in this bundle. But I tried to use ones that I thought I would probably continue to want to send to somebody. So I kept them pretty generic for today's class. Thinking of you. So there's our sentiment. We're going to bring this back in a minute after we get our little hearts. But are you guys ready for the reveal? This is like the best part. This is so much fun. I get so excited about color. And I still haven't decided which card is my color swap, but this would be a really fun card to do a color swap on. I think, but just see how the painter's tape is ripping up my my grid paper here. That's why I no longer like to use it on my good cardstock, because if I had just made this with painter's tape and ripped it on its way out, I would be a little upset because I'd have to start over. Now, so far, it just looks like a big fancy blob, but we still have more magic to do. We're going to reveal all 4 sides. And again, we're going to have that really great, it's like a frame, it's like we built in a frame here, right? So as all of these come off, this is my favorite part, really. We get that 4 sides of perfection. Look at how gorgeous this is. Is that not beautiful? Oh, I just adore this so much. So by masking it, we kept the outside of our white paper white. And it's beautiful and stunning. I just cannot say enough about that, I think, because I am a fan. Okay, so Azure Afternoon, here's our card base. Again, we're just doing some simple layering. You are getting this embossed piece, so you don't have to even emboss it, right? You're just gonna add your adhesive and pop it down and create. Now, if you don't have masks at home and you're thinking, this is great, Julie, but I don't have masks at home, I can't make the cards that you're making, you really can use the same piece of paper and just do the sponging, but instead of using a mask, you're just going to have solid colors. So you'd have just a solid color coming down through, which would be really pretty. Another thing you can do is if you have some fancy die cuts that leave a great stencil when you get done die cutting, you can turn those into a mask too. So check out what you have at home, because I bet you have some really great things that you just haven't thought about in the right way. So there's always a great way to repurpose all of those fun things that we play with while we're getting creative. So this again is just going to go down flat right here on my card base. Beautiful. I could set this aside and leave this in a pile and make 20 of these, and then when I need them, pull them out and just add a little bit of you know, like a little die piece. I like to add a little die piece, a sentiment, and then our hearts. Now our hearts, you had paper in your kit also to do the hearts, because there are 2 of them right here. So you have a small heart and a smaller heart. They're not very big hearts, but they are super cute little hearts. So you're going to die cut your 2 hearts. And if you don't have this particular die set, maybe you have a small heart punch, maybe you want to use a flower. There's all kinds of things. Now, thinking of you goes with one of these dies. This is like playing a game of roulette, right? Like which die would I pull out to go with thinking of you? If you just look at these, you might be able to figure it out, but it's just easier to have that cheat sheet. So thinking of you was number 6. So according to my chart, thinking of you, number 6. So I come to my dies, I look at number 6 is right here, and if I put this on here, it will die cut out thinking of you. So again, remember that they're going to fit really snugly, so just make sure you're lining them up really well before you pop them through your die cutting machine. And when you're all done die cutting your hearts and you're thinking of you, okay, that's for our last card, and that's for our last card. So you have 2 little hearts just like this, and you have thinking of you. So now we're just going to go ahead and pop these onto our card and finish this one up, and then we're going to be rolling into our final card already. So let's go ahead and put some dimensionals on here. Just remember where I set them down. Now this one I'm going to use a combination of big and small dimensionals. So there is a pretty side and a rough side to each of these die cuts. So make sure you're putting your dimensionals or your adhesive on the rough side, so you have the pretty side facing up. So I'm just going to remove dimensional backings. Now I liked putting the green here kind of across where the green was. You could obviously put it up higher or lower if you wanted to, but I liked it kind of where the green is. And I also put it over to the side so that I could see as much of this transition of color as possible. So I really want to see a little bit of the green, this really pretty Coastal Cabana before it gets really blue. So that's how I did that. I did think that the white hearts kind of disappeared on this card without adding a little bit of decorative edging to them. So I did use my Azure Afternoon ink and a sponge dauber, and I just went around and just put a little bit of ink along the outside edges, not too much. I don't want them to be blue hearts, I just want them to be blue edged. There we go. So it just kind of brings out a little bit of color, and it makes sense because we have so much blue in our card. I was like thinking, do I want to do them green? Do I want to do them yellow? Oh my goodness, the colors, right? So that looks so much more detailed just like that by adding just that little tiny bit of ink with the dauber. Now I'm gonna just do more dimensionals. This is very dimensionalized right here now. So we're gonna pop on this heart over here. And for the little tiny one, again, so I'm bringing in the little tiny dimensionals. One is perfect. So I only got to argue with one backing right now. All these backings are everywhere in here, my goodness. All right, we're going to kind of crisscross them a little bit like so. If I can get this picked up, this is my thinking of you sentiment. I'm going to bring over probably a couple of those. Tiny little dimensionals, right? And then popping that on there. It's just a really great way to draw attention to your sentiment too, is to have this fussy cut die job, right? We didn't have to like fussy cut it. We just did a die job on it. And then we can just pop it on here. So I didn't have to heat emboss it to make it stand out. Maybe I'll put this up a little bit higher because my hearts are over a little bit more. Yes, I think that I shall. There we have it. All right, let's look at these two cards. We need to bring in some bling. That was annoying me, so I'm going to pull that little piece of paper off. And my bling. So again, these little guys, they go with everything. And I just used a couple of them on here. We'll put a couple up top. So here we have it. I mean, just super simple. Really pretty though, right? Like, who would not want this Thinking of You card? I just think this is a gorgeous card. Like, I love these colors together. It's bright and cheery also, right? So it's a Thinking of You card, like, that's a nice Thinking of You card, not a sad Thinking of You card. All right, let me clean up here for just a second because I've got little rolly papers and things everywhere. And then we're gonna bring in our last card kit. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? It's already the last card kit of the night. And it is very purple. It's extra purpley. So this is definitely a card for people who love the purples. This is also a really easy peasy card. Guys, thanks for all the beautiful love. I'm just checking your comments really quickly. Oh, that's so sweet. I love it. Okay, so back to the card here. So this is all purples. This is very rich in purple. And we have two Highland Heather card bases. We have two of these gorgeous grape, and these are embossed with the 3D basics. It might be hard to see. The purple is hard to see probably because it's really dark, but I love this very, very much. And just like our other cards, we have this very basic size that we're using to make pretty. And then we have purple for a flower, and then we have white for a sentiment. So these are simpler card kits, but they're very creative card kits because you're going to be doing all kinds of creative things with them. So you have enough here to get a jumping start to, and then you're going to be super creative. Now this one's a really fun one. We're going to be using, of course, Gorgeous Grape and Highland Heather ink, so we're keeping it very tonal here. And if I can find my masks again, there is a mask in this set that it looks like this. It's really interesting, right? So you could, in theory, right, you could put this down and you could make this section dark or this section dark. But if you use the other pieces, the pop-out pieces, which we're going to do for this card, we're actually going to mask and leave what's behind here white. So that is my trick for this one. So we're going to bring in, again, our little adhesive. This is the removable adhesive. I can't tell if there's like a front or a back to this or not. All right, here we go. A little bit of adhesive. Now I'm going to pop this down kind of over to the side, right about here. I want to have a little bit of white showing. So basically, wherever the mask is not, will be purple when I'm done. I'm making this really purple. So this little bit of adhesive holds that on there really well. And we're going to start with Highland Heather. And we are going to, again, we're using our blending brushes, bringing in Highland Heather. So for this one, I'm basically starting above and kind of coming into my mask piece here. So I really I want a harsh line right at the masked piece as the edges come into play here. You'll see it kind of developing. So I'm just trying to bring that up into this mask piece. And it creates this really dark line. I lift this up a little bit. You can see that it's darkest. Hopefully you can see that it's darkest all the way around this mask piece, right? I'm just going to kind of, I haven't re-inked. I'm just going to kind of push outward a little bit and make that kind of softer in the background around it, right? So that's our first step. If I took this off right now and left it just like this, it would be beautiful. Beautiful. It would be all white, a lot of white, but it would still be some pretty purple. But we're going deep into the Gorgeous Grape next. And let me switch out blending brushes. Now with the Gorgeous Grape, I'm going to start on the outside this time and come inward. So I'm going to start up above my paper line and come down and in. So the darker line is always going to be on the edge for this, but as it comes in, it's going to get a little bit softer. So I'm going to kind of do this here. So if you can see from my scrap paper, I'm focusing my ink really like right in this little channel right here. So I have a lot on my scrap paper as well as heading into my cardstock, right? So I'm focusing on, so again, you can see this big swoop right here. That means I'm not just putting it all on the card stock, I'm putting it kind of off and then in and on. And you can rotate it if it's easier for you to rotate. It's easier for you to come down and up that way, whichever way is easier. I know everyone likes to try, you know, to be comfortable with these techniques as they go. All right, so I just want to take a look at this real quick and see kind of what I got going on. I'm going to bring a little bit more of this ink down into the lighter ink, but I am leaving kind of like a little halo around. I want to leave it a little bit lighter and not have it so dark everywhere, right? Otherwise it's just purple paper. We could have just had purple paper, but this way we have prettier purple paper because it has those nuances, it has some shades in it. And here's where it's really awesome. Look at that with our mask. Now you can do this technique with any punch, right? So you grab a punch. What do we got for punches here handy, right? So you grab a punch, you create a shape, you put it down, this could be your mask. You don't have to necessarily have these masks. You could use any punch for a shape, you could use any die cut for a shape, so you could use this with anything. So that's what I'm trying to share with you tonight for this class, is that really you can use all kinds of good stuff. I am missing a purple card base. So I'm going to take one from my kit and I'm going to do some really quick scoring on it. Move some things aside so that I am not working on top of them. Okay, card base reminder. I like to use my scoring tool for my card bases. So typically I'll cut my card base and then I will bring in my trimmer and I will score. I'll score here at the top so you can see. So I'm going to bring this over to 4 1/4. Make sure I only have my scoring blade, and it's that simple. I just score it a couple of times just like that. I find that I have a better chance of getting it straight if I score it that way rather than just fold it over in half. And after I fold it in half and I make the two ends meet on the left side, I have this little bubble right here with the crease and I kind of just push it outward. So I have a nice crisp line, and if you open it up inside, you should also see a nice crisp line inside if you're doing it this way. If you're doing it with the bone folder, scoring it that way when the person opens the card, it's really nice. It's not jagged and, you know, kind of crooked. It's just those little tiny things that elevate our work. All right, so that's what I like to do. And then we're just gonna be layering some stuff down here. So we've got our fantastic emboss piece. I did not add any ink to this because it really didn't need it. I didn't want to add extra purple ink. So this is just going to get laid down onto our card front. And there's no orientation on this embossing folder, so you just really just get to put that down, whatever works best. Now this piece also is going to go on here. I didn't add dimensionals, but I think this time I am. I think I'm going to mix it up. I don't know. Every time I get together and do these classes, there's got to be at least one card that I'm like, you know what I'm going to do this time, and I'm going to just change it a little bit. And I'm feeling dimensional happy today because I used a lot. This is not my normal, but we're using a whole bunch. We're going to put this layer up. We're going to see if it looks even nicer than our original card with all these little layers on it. So the nice thing about these cards also, the dimensionals are on here. There's a little bit of bling, but it's not super thick. There's no ribbon on here. Ribbon usually does add quite a bit of bulk to a card, and it just makes it a little bit harder to mail sometimes. I think I do like it. It might be hard for you to see, but when I looked at it, I think I like it with it up rather than flat. So good option tonight. Now this purple paper is intended to be die cut with your flower. So when you die cut your flower, you're going to have a purple flower, but it looks a little bit different, right? So if you can see, there's a little bit of a tone difference there. We're going to bring in our gorgeous grape, and I don't know if we're going to need more ink or not. I'm thinking this might have a lot of ink left in it. That's the nice thing about keeping the brushes fully inked at all times instead of washing them every other 3 times. Actually, I do want more ink. That's not quite enough. All right, more ink, please. We're making this really dark. So we're using tone on tone ink, gorgeous grape ink, gorgeous grape cardstock, and then look at the difference. It's just much bolder and brighter, right? Like it pops that way. It needed to be darkened down. Actually, while I have this open, I should talk to you about your sentiment. Oh, this sentiment. This is one that's like, you stand in the aisle and you need some tissues when you read these cards at the Hallmark store. This one says, I'll listen to your silence when words are just too much. That one just really is touching me today, obviously. So here we go. Stamping this in the gorgeous grape. Love that. So like I said, these wonderful thoughts are really deep and meaningful thoughts. There's some really awesome things here. As we open up and look for I'll Listen to Your Silence, it is number 14. So I would look on my little die cut sheet here for number 14, which is this one right here. And then I can line this up. So again, it's got the capitals in print, and then it's got a mix of the fonts here. It's just fantastic. And then when I'm done die cutting, I would just find the spot on my sheet, put that back on there, and just like that, we have our little die cut to go with our card. So we need to finish this card up. Now we just have some dimensionals to put on here and some bling, and it's really that simple. So this was a simpler card set, I would say. The beauty here is just in how you're going to blend your inks, and that's all up to you. Now if you don't have the exact same shades that I use, you can use whatever you want that looks good. You don't have to have everything that I have, but if you do want to get everything that I have, I wouldn't blame you, because I always want to have all of the things too. All right, so hopefully that's enough for our flowers. Let's check it and see. Yes, I think that'll work beautifully. And then we're going to need some for our sentiment. And we'll put, I think I put 3 on here. 1, 2, 3. So basically just kind of covering where it needs to be covered there. So let's get these off first. Tricky part. We'll put the flower on first. I like to put the flower on and kind of, I usually leave the sentiment for last, because I like to move the sentiment in and around the elements on my card rather than move the elements around my sentiment. I feel like it's just easier that way. So we'll just put this up here. We're kind of taking advantage of a little bit. Oh, it's going to be perfect. I love it. Okay, yes. So, and it's nice again to have these little sentiments that are die cut and elevated. I mean, you could have stamped and put this right on there, right? But it's fancier for sure when you can have such an amazing die cut around your words and then pop them up and put them on there. And of course, I think of these and go, oh my gosh, these would look beautiful heat embossed. I could have heat embossed any of these, gold, silver, copper, I mean, you name it. They could all be heat embossed sentiments on different color cardstock. A couple more blings and we're going to be good to go. There we go. And if you've been following along with me for a while, you notice that a lot of times I use the triangle shape for my bling to decide where my bling is going to go. So it's the properties, I think that's the properties or elements of 3. I did a whole thing on this at one point, how to add the gems to your cards to make them look a little bit more natural. And you're basically trying to create a triangle. Somewhere on your card it needs to have a triangle. So you know, do 2 here. I could have done 2 here and 1 up here. So as you're creating those little triangles, they just it works together so well, so nicely. So I try to remember that little rule in design. It's not really in card making actually. It's a rule of design, and I think it's funny how rules of design really also work in our card making activities. So here are the card kits. Here's the cards. Okay, so you're going to be making again 2 of each. I would love to know which one is your favorite tonight, but I feel like they're all so pretty and bright and fun and so unique, right? I feel like I tried to bring you a class that not every card looks exactly the same as every other card, because you're here to learn new things. You're here to check it out. Jess says her niece loves purple. Oh, thanks, Jess, for saying that. It's so great. I know there are a lot of people that love purple. There's a lot of purple people out in the world. So I'm just checking on your comments really quickly. The masking ideas. Thanks, Sandra. I'm glad you enjoyed them. So think about masking when you're doing, you know, like, I know we get into our ruts and routines as card makers. I can certainly do that as well. Jana says the purple wins. Thank you. That is so awesome. That's actually the last card that I designed. I typically will do my class in the order of how I design the cards. So I designed the Pebble Path first, and then I designed the Azure Afternoon second, and then I did the purple card last. And sometimes I feel like when I get to my 3rd card in a row, I've lost like some creative juice and some steam, and I'm like, I don't even know if this is good anymore. So when you guys like the last card, then I feel like, oh, that's so nice to hear that I still had it in me for a little bit longer than I thought. So anyway, check out, you know, watch the masking, rewatch the masking if you need to. Think about how you can use this in your own cards. It is a lot of fun to ink blend and to mask for sure. Whether you have official masks, whether you make your own, you know, with punches or dies, whether you just take some Post-it notes. You can mask with Post-it notes, right? There's so many ways you can do this, and you're going to find that it adds a really an intense difference to your cards because you're adding that ink yourself, right? You're really putting yourself into the card even more than we normally do just by stamping and coloring and all of those good things. So thank you for joining me for tonight's class. I'm so glad you liked it. I will have a color swap on Wednesday, and I am so excited to get in there and swap out some colors. So make sure you're over on Positive Paper Crafters Wednesday to see who wore it better. I will be back on Thursday for a Thursday at 3, and I will come up with a nice fun fold to share with you. So if you have any questions on any of the techniques, the measurements, and what have you on the card kits, please let me know. Again, when you order my class and you get the kits in the mail, I also send you emailed PDF tutorials. You have card recipes you can print and save. I don't offer them to everyone, so they really are special to anyone who orders from me. So if you have those recipes, you have like a secret, right? I don't just hand them out to anybody. So you guys enjoy those. All right, thanks for sharing love with me tonight. I'm so appreciative of your company. And until next time, stay inspired, create something beautiful, and keep sharing the love. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.